cases getting thrown out of court. We've heard about that in the news a little bit recently, so I think that'd be a good topic.
Sure. So tell me, how do cases get thrown out of court?
Well, typically there's dismissal of a lawsuit and summary judgment. So I'm going to talk about dismissal of lawsuits, and you can cover summary judgment.
Sounds like a plan.
Great. Okay. So cases get dismissed, and those are usually based upon the pleading. So the complaint, there's some deficiency with the complaint. You're not stating a cause of action, meaning you don't have a claim under law. These are typically judge determinations just based upon the complaint as it's presented to the judge. The judge looks at it and says, well, there's no cause of action here, or you haven't pled a necessary, cause of action. We're not talking about facts of the case. At this point, it's just, are you bringing a proper claim? And that's how cases get thrown out on dismissal. Typically, doesn't happen a lot in summary judgment, in personal injury cases, and typically you can correct those technical deficiencies by repleting it or alleging new facts or kind of filling out what's missing and meeting the judge's requirements. Usually the judges give you a few bites at the apple for dismissals in order to fix it because they want to hear the case on the merits. So what about summary judgment?
Well, summary judgment is a little more technical because you have actually stated a legal claim, and the court has to then determine that everything that you've stated is true. And even if it is true, that there is no legal basis to move forward. It's a very difficult standard. And thankfully in Florida courts, it's a very hard thing to allege a summary judgment because you're asking the judge, not the jury, to determine that every single thing you said is correct and that based on what you say, that you win. So it's a very difficult bar in personal injury cases. Now, there are some exceptions to that. There are cases that go to federal court, and what the difference of the two is that state court, usually you're talking about local cases, but there are cases with large corporations, your Targets, your Walmarts, those large corporations that are not solely based in Florida, they're all over the country or the world, and those cases get put into federal court a lot of times, and the summary judgment bar is a little higher in federal court. So we do see in slip and fall cases a lot of times because you have to be able to tell what you slipped on, and you also have to be able to demonstrate how long it had been there, whether it was a sufficient or reasonable time. And a lot of times we have a pretty high bar when cases are in federal court. So that's why it's really important to document what happened and to be able to prove, especially in slip and fall cases, how long something has been there and what it is that you slip and fell on. So summary judgment's a little more difficult for either side to get a ruling, but it is one of the ways that cases are thrown out of court.